Tom Brady's return to Foxboro, the ultimate revenge game. Tom Brady's return to New England as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer represents the most emotionally charged revenge story in NFL history. After 20 years and 6 Super Bowl championships with the Patriots, Brady felt disrespected by the organization's reluctance to offer him a long-term contract and their apparent eagerness to move on to the Mac Jones era. When Brady signed with Tampa Bay in 2020, he made it clear that he had something to prove, especially to the organization that had seemingly pushed him out the door. The revenge element became even more intense when the NFL scheduled Tampa Bay to play at New England in October 2021, Brady's first return to Foxboro as an opponent. The buildup was unprecedented, with media coverage treating it like a heavyweight championship fight. Brady had already won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, proving that his success wasn't entirely dependent on Bill Belichick's system, but beating his former team in their own stadium would be the ultimate validation. The game itself was a masterpiece of revenge theater. Brady threw for 269 yards and 4 touchdowns, systematically dismantling the Patriots' defense with the precision and knowledge that only comes from 2 decades of experience in that system. He knew every tendency, every weakness, and every adjustment the Patriots would make using their own playbook against them. The most satisfying moment came when Brady found Mike Evans for a touchdown pass, then celebrated with the intensity that showed how much this game meant to him. The Patriots fans, who had cheered Brady for 2 decades, found themselves in the awkward position of rooting against their greatest hero. Brady's 19-17 victory was more than just a win. It was a statement that he was still elite and that the Patriots had made a massive mistake in letting him walk away. The revenge was complete when Brady won another Super Bowl that season, his 7th overall, while the Patriots missed the playoffs entirely. Peyton Manning's Denver dominance, proving the Colts wrong. Peyton Manning's revenge against the Indianapolis Colts represents one of the most satisfying comeback stories in NFL history. After 14 seasons as the face of the Colts franchise, Manning was unceremoniously released in 2012 due to concerns about his neck injury and the team's desire to draft Andrew Luck. The Colts' decision to move on from Manning was understandable from a business perspective, but the way they handled it left Manning feeling betrayed and disrespected. When Manning signed with the Denver Broncos, he was determined to prove that his best football was still ahead of him and that the Colts had made a massive mistake. The revenge element was intensified by the fact that Manning would face his former team twice a year in the AFC, giving him regular opportunities to show the Colts what they had given up. Manning's first game against Indianapolis in 2012 was emotional for everyone involved, but it was just the beginning of his revenge tour. Over the next 4 seasons, Manning dominated the Colts every time they played, using his intimate knowledge of their organization and personnel to exploit every weakness. He threw for over 300 yards in multiple games against Indianapolis, often making their defense look helpless with his pre-snap adjustments and audibles. The most satisfying revenge came in the 2013 playoffs when Manning's Broncos demolished the Colts 24-9 in the divisional round, with Manning throwing for 377 yards and 2 touchdowns. The game wasn't even close, with Manning systematically picking apart the defense of his former team while Andrew Luck, his supposed replacement, struggled to move the ball. Manning's revenge was complete when he won his 2nd Super Bowl with Denver in 2015, proving that he still had championship-level football left in him, despite the Colts' concerns about his age and health. The Colts, meanwhile, wasted Andrew Luck's career with poor roster construction and coaching, making their decision to release Manning look even worse in hindsight. Brett Favre's Minnesota revenge, the ultimate betrayal. Brett Favre's decision to join the Minnesota Vikings represents the most shocking revenge story in NFL history, as he chose to play for his former team's biggest rival after feeling betrayed by the Green Bay Packers organization. Favre had spent 16 seasons as the face of the Packers franchise, leading them to a Super Bowl championship and becoming a beloved figure in Wisconsin. But his relationship with the organization soured when they began planning for life after Favre, drafting Aaron Rodgers and making it clear that they wanted to transition to a younger quarterback. When Favre retired in 2008, then attempted to return, the Packers made it clear they had moved on and were reluctant to welcome him back. The situation became toxic, with Favre feeling disrespected and the Packers feeling manipulated by his retirement flip-flopping. When Favre was traded to the New York Jets, it seemed like the story was over. But Favre had one more shocking move left. In 2009, he signed with the Minnesota Vikings, the Packers' most hated rival, in what felt like the ultimate betrayal to Green Bay fans. The revenge element was intensified by the fact that Favre would play at Lambeau Field as an opponent, wearing the purple and gold of the team that Packers fans despised most. Favre's first game back in Green Bay was one of the most emotionally charged regular season games in NFL history, with former fans booing their former hero and Favre clearly motivated to prove the Packers wrong. He threw for 271 yards and 4 touchdowns in a dominant 30-23 victory, silencing the crowd that had once worshipped him. The revenge was even sweeter because Favre led the Vikings to the NFC Championship game that season, coming within one game of reaching the Super Bowl with Green Bay's biggest rival. The sight of Favre in a Vikings uniform was devastating to Packers fans, who felt like their hero had stabbed them in the heart by joining the enemy. The New England Patriots Spygate revenge, proving the doubters wrong. The New England Patriots' response to the Spygate scandal represents one of the most dominant revenge seasons in NFL history. In 2007, the Patriots were caught illegally videotaping opposing teams' defensive signals, leading to massive fines and the loss of a first-round draft pick. The scandal created a firestorm of criticism, with opponents, media, and fans questioning whether the Patriots' previous success had been legitimate or the result of systematic cheating. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady were furious about the accusations that their championships were tainted, and they used that anger as motivation for one of the most dominant seasons in NFL history. The Patriots went 16-0 in the regular season, scoring a then-record 589 points while systematically destroying every team that had criticized them. Brady threw for 4,806 yards and 50 touchdowns, both NFL records at the time, while the Patriots' offense became a precision machine that seemed unstoppable. Every game felt like a revenge game, with the Patriots running up scores against teams that had questioned their legitimacy. The most satisfying revenge came against teams whose coaches or players had been particularly vocal about Spygate, with the Patriots showing no mercy in blowout victories. The Patriots' dominance was so complete that they were favored to complete the first perfect season since the 1972 Dolphins, making their eventual Super Bowl loss to the Giants even more devastating. But the regular season revenge tour was complete, with the Patriots proving that their success was based on talent and coaching, not just illegal videotaping. The 2007 season became the ultimate response to critics, showing that the Patriots could dominate even when everyone knew they were coming and every team was motivated to beat them. The Baltimore Ravens' Cleveland revenge, stealing a franchise's soul. The Baltimore Ravens' dominance over the Cleveland Browns represents the most painful revenge story in NFL history, as the Ravens are literally the Browns' former franchise that was stolen away in 1996. When Art Modell moved the Browns to Baltimore, he took the team's players, coaches, and front office staff, leaving Cleveland fans devastated and betrayed. The NFL eventually awarded Cleveland an expansion franchise in 1999, but the new Browns have been consistently terrible, while the Ravens, using the foundation that was built in Cleveland, have won 2 Super Bowls and become one of the most successful franchises in the NFL. The revenge element is particularly cruel because Ravens' success is a constant reminder of what Cleveland lost when Modell moved the team. Every time the Ravens win a championship or make the playoffs, Browns fans are reminded that it could have been their team celebrating if Modell hadn't betrayed the city. The head-to-head matchups between the teams have been dominated by Baltimore, with the Ravens winning the majority of games and often doing so in humiliating fashion. The most painful revenge came in 2000, when the Ravens won their first Super Bowl with a defense that included several players who had been drafted by the Browns before the move. Ray Lewis, who became the face of the Ravens franchise, was originally a Browns draft pick. making his success in Baltimore even more painful for Cleveland fans. The Ravens have continued to torment the Browns with superior coaching, better draft picks, and more successful free agent signings, proving that the organizational culture that Modell took from Cleveland was the foundation for sustained success. The Browns, meanwhile, have been one of the worst franchises in the NFL since their return, going through countless coaches, quarterbacks, and front office executives while never achieving sustained success. The Ravens' continued excellence serves as a constant reminder of the franchise that Cleveland lost and the success that could have been theirs if not for one owner's betrayal. The San Francisco 49ers' Dallas revenge, ending a dynasty. The San Francisco 49ers' revenge against the Dallas Cowboys in the 1990s represents one of the most satisfying dynasty-ending stories in NFL history. Throughout the early 1990s, the Cowboys had dominated the 49ers in crucial playoff games, winning 3 straight NFC Championship games from 1992 to 1994, and preventing San Francisco from reaching the Super Bowl during their prime years. The Cowboys' success was particularly galling to the 49ers because Dallas had built their dynasty by copying San Francisco's West Coast offense and organizational structure, then using it against them. The 49ers felt like the Cowboys had stolen their playbook and were now using it to prevent them from winning championships. The revenge opportunity came in the 1994 NFC Championship game, when the 49ers finally got their chance to end the Cowboys' dynasty and reclaim their place as the NFC's dominant team. The game was played at Candlestick Park, giving the 49ers home field advantage for the first time in their playoff rivalry with Dallas. Steve Young and the 49ers offense were magnificent, scoring 38 points against a Cowboys defense that had been dominant all season. The most satisfying moment came when Young threw a touchdown pass to Jerry Rice, then celebrated with an intensity that showed how much this victory meant to the franchise. The 49ers' 38-28 victory was more than just a win. It was validation that they were still the superior organization and that the Cowboys' reign was over. The revenge was complete when the 49ers went on to win Super Bowl 29, capturing their 5th championship, while the Cowboys began a decline that would last for decades. The victory represented the changing of the guard in the NFC, with the 49ers reclaiming their throne and the Cowboys beginning their fall from dynasty status to mediocrity. The power of revenge. Why these stories matter. Revenge stories in the NFL resonate so deeply because they represent the human elements that make sports compelling. Beyond just wins and losses, these stories tap into universal emotions like betrayal, redemption, and vindication that everyone can relate to, regardless of their team allegiance. They show that even the most successful athletes and organizations are motivated by the same desires for respect and validation that drive ordinary people in their daily lives. The best revenge stories also demonstrate the power of motivation and how perceived slights can fuel extraordinary performances. Tom Brady's return to New England, Peyton Manning's dominance with Denver, and Brett Favre's success in Minnesota all show how the desire to prove doubters wrong can elevate already great players to even higher levels. These revenge narratives become part of NFL folklore because they combine athletic excellence with compelling human drama, creating moments that transcend sports and become cultural touchstones that fans remember for decades.